Greetings, late night fans. My name's Andrew Taylor.
And my name is Matthew Hall, also known as Matt Hall in the context of this channel. And I gotta tell you, today we're going to be looking at a game that is very violent, very bloody, and was suggested by you, a viewer of the channel. That's right. Every episode we say, hey, let us know what you've been playing or if there's some games you want us to check out. And one of the suggestions we received was Soldier of Fortune. Let's check out my review.
You're a soldier of 4chan.
I stopped looking at 4chan after seeing something I never want to see again.
Damn, gotta find another way in.
Soldier of Fortune is a shooter for the PC that came out in the year 2000, and then a year later it was ported to the Dreamcast and the PlayStation 2. It was developed by Raven Software, who actually made a ton of awesome games before being relegated to the Call of Duty factory as they are today. In the game, you take on the role of mercenary John Mullins, who, along with his partner, Aaron Hawk Parsons, works for an organization called The Shop. The story revolves around a terrorist named Sergei Decker and his plans for world domination. Terrorist groups are trading all sorts of nuclear bombs and advanced weapons of mass destruction, and it's your job to stop them. The game lets you know right away that you are in for a very bloody time. The level of gore in this game is actually pretty fucking wild, and the game uses something called the Ghoul Engine, which allowed players to attack 26 different points in an enemy's body, leading to all kinds of unique mutilations. One of my favorite things to do while playing this game was to quickly shoot out both of an enemy's legs so that he would kind of hang in the air for a brief moment before collapsing. You can also take a less than lethal approach to many encounters by shooting weapons out of the hands of enemies, which usually causes them to surrender. You hop around the globe through over a dozen different missions, and all of the levels feel like realistic, well thought out locations. There's a really awesome train mission, there's this brutal section where you trudge through a Sudanese slaughterhouse. The levels are generally really varied and a lot of fun to explore. Before each mission, you'll get a briefing of your objectives, and you'll be able to select your loadout of weapons and accessories. As I went through, I mostly stuck to heavy machine guns, but there's a lot of different weapons to pick from, and in general, they all look and sound good. I'm really not any sort of gun expert, but I didn't pick up anything in the game that I didn't enjoy using to blast away terrorists. The story is a little convoluted. I could see some people losing track of locations or the exact goals of each mission, but it doesn't really matter. Your goals are pretty much to kill the terrorists and get to the end of the level. Sometimes you do have specific tasks to perform, but these are always fairly intuitive, and I never really saw myself having to go back and check the mission briefings. The game isn't terribly difficult or all that long. I finished it in well under 10 hours, and I didn't really die that many times until pretty late in the game. There's a few points that seem to drag on, but in general, the game is fast-paced, and overall, I think it's a really fun shooter. You explore interesting maps and maim terrorists. It's really straight to the point. The shooting and movement are solid, and while the game is over 20 years old, I think it still looks great. You can actually get the game for free if you look up the Community Edition, which has a bunch of bug fixes and works to address different compatibility issues that might arise with modern hardware. This isn't some sort of masterpiece when it comes to storytelling or gameplay innovation, but it's a really fun first-person shooter that you can run through in a weekend or so. I give it a very strong recommendation.
No money is worth this smell.
Hey,
Whoa! I'm in this camera because that was crazy.
I fucked our mic so hard right there.
They look good.
Oh man, I gotta tell you.
I wish this game had been bad, because then I would have called it Soldier of Misfortune.
Oh, well.
Warp.
It's not. I think it's a fucking sick game, and I have to ask, have you played? Soldier of Fortune?
I have not. I've never even heard of this game until you mentioned it. Well, I guess our faithful viewer mentioned it in the comments.
Yeah, I heard of it in the past, but I was like, oh, it's probably some RTS game or something. I don't know. It has such a generic title. It's based on the Soldier of Fortune magazine, and it's mercenary, gun for hire, Soldier of Fortune magazine. I think this game was. I want to say the developers licensed the name Soldier of Fortune from the magazine, and that. Did I say John Parsons? I can't remember his name now. Hopefully I'm right. I believe he was a real person.
Oh, the character?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember what it is either. Okay. And is it supposed to loosely following his exploits in the world?
No.
It just follows
Fictional
the guy?
story,
Is
fictional
this
story.
Is this like a 50 Cent like game thing where they like take a real guy and put him into a not real
You
scenario?
mean like 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying, or 50 Cent's Iraqi Adventure, where they fucking other games called?
Yeah, to battle, yeah.
Similar, yeah.
Okay.
It's like a globe-trotting, anti-terrorist action game.
Badass guy.
So badass.
It looks fun. What year was it from? 2090?
I think 2000.
Like right around 2000?
I think 2000.
Okay, that
Because it
sounds
was
about
just
right.
over 20 years old.
So yeah, in 2000 I was 6, so it was a little bit off my radar. It looks really fun. This reminds me of the games that I would sneak into my brother's room to watch him play on Xbox when Xbox first came out. That I was not allowed to watch him play, like Blood Rain or even PsyOps, Mindgate Conspiracy, even though that wasn't too gory. It looks sweet. It looks fun. Was the story really part of it, or was it mostly just like have fun?
The story's a little hard to follow. Essentially, you're trying to track down. There's like a bunch of mini nukes that have been like stolen and redistributed, and you're trying to like track them all down. So there's kind of like one head terrorist at the top of the whole scheme, but there's a bunch of like mini plots. You're like, I think there's a bomb over here, or there's action over here. So you're like, there is a main narrative, but you're kind of just like, hey, you're needed in this area, so this is where you're going.
Okay.
You know, so the narrative isn't a huge part of it. It could have just as easily been Soldier of Fortune, here's your list of missions,
And
you know?
go
And they
do
could
it.
have been disconnected, it doesn't matter.
All right. When you said mini nukes, I pictured like really tiny, like 1-inch Duke Nukems.
Yes.
I'll rip off your head and shit down your neck.
Like when he gets hit with the shrink ray.
Does that happen? Oh, that does happen. Yeah, and at least in Forever, you get to drive around a little RC car.
Well, it also happens in Duke Nukem 3D.
I did play that actually.
Yeah, you played through, I'd say a good half of the game.
I was gonna say I
like
never
in one
played that.
evening.
That was a good time.
We got stuck on one of the underwater levels.
Why is it always the underwater levels? That
Because
was
they
one of the,
suck.
They suck. That's the caliber of gaming commentary that you're getting with Hidden Machine. Underwater levels suck.
Almost always.
They're usually pretty bad.
Because it's like, hey, here's all the game mechanics you were used to, and now they don't work, or they're fucked.
Or that's just a lot slower and
Yeah.
clunkier. Are there underwater levels in Soldier of Fortune?
No.
No?
No.
All right. There's no. You don't have to shoot people underwater at any moment.
You might go underwater briefly, but no, there's really nothing like that.
And the Mythbusters did prove that you can't really reliably shoot somebody underwater. I don't know. It looks cool. I like the gore. I think that's
The gore is wild.
That's one thing that stuck with me is that seems like that. Whether this was we were having a discussion about games off camera where you mentioned that some games are more important than they are good, and I wonder if Soldier of Fortune acted as a maybe not just for games, but if it acted as a milestone for
gore in gaming?
simulated gore. Yeah,
Possibly. I mean, I think at the time it was one of the most goriest games out there, and you know,
I'm sure that was
I think
a
other
mar-
games, you know, like Manhunt, which I think was approximately around the same time, if not a couple years later, and Manhunt 2 especially. You know, it wasn't normal to have that much gore in games. You would see
Yeah.
headshots or something sometimes, but like,
even James Bond.
I mean, the
like
incredible
007.
dismemberment, and it's chunky.
Yeah, it's very chunky. I want to know what kind of gun you're shooting that can blast a guy's leg off and have the little like ham bone sticking out.
Yeah, I don't know, but man, it's one of the fucking goriest games I've ever played, and that makes it a lot of fun because you don't feel bad about anyone you're killing because they're all evil.
They're all evil terrorists, and they deserve to get their legs blown off. As they...
Yes, or if you don't believe that, you could also take a pacifist run on the game.
Is that completely, so when you shoot the gun out of their hand,
You
does it
can't.
just...
You have to shoot the final boss.
Okay.
You know, you can't do a complete 100% pacifist run, but you can. You can if you're tactile. If you're tactful, and you really take your time with your shots, you can just like ping enemies and they all surrender.
Really? That's interesting. Well, you did say that you have to shoot the last boss.
You gotta kill the last guy.
Well, sorry, Undertale fans. No pure pacifist run here.
No.
But Soldier of Fortune seems pretty cool.
Yeah, highly recommend it. I'd say it's a great shooter. It's dumb, it's mindless, but it feels really good. Every level is interesting and unique. There's a little bit of grind as you get toward the end of the game. There's 1 or 2 levels that are like, great, they repeated this map, sort of. But it's like, those are such minor complaints. Like generally, it's like, whoa, how do they keep coming up with new ideas? How do they keep making this feel fresh? It's not a super long game, maybe 8 hours, and highly recommended. I've recently dove into the sequel, Soldier of Fortune 2.
Ooh, sequel.
Don't like it as much.
No.
Gotta say the first one's better so far, although the second one does offer a lot. But yeah, this is like a great game. Similar in a lot of ways, does remind me of GoldenEye in terms of like that era of first-person shooters.
Kind of blocky.
Yeah, it's definitely old school. It's not entirely corridor-based, but it's more corridor-based.
That dude that you showed that like walked up to a guy, blasted his head, did the same walking animation, and then did this like side shoot.
Yeah.
that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and all the extra characters, the NPCs, and everyone in the story is rather charming, I would say. You know, it's a fun game. Strongly recommended to anyone who likes fun games. In terms of old school, mid-era, you know, it's not like a Wolfenstein, it's not like a Doom. It's definitely a huge step up from that.
Right.
But those mid-era FPS games,
Pretty
play
good
it,
one.
play it, and you can get it for free. So there's no fucking reason not to try it.
There's no reason not to try it, and maybe you already have tried it.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, how would I even know that?
How would you know unless you put it in the comments? Have you played Soldier of Fortune? We want to know. We also want to know what other games you've been playing. As Matt said at the top of this video, he only played Soldier of Fortune. He thought it was a dumb, stinky, horrible game until one of you faithful commenters said, no, game good.
Yeah, I believed you, and I'm glad I did. And hey, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date on all our new videos that drop about once a week, if not more often, or less often, depending on how we're feeling. And be sure to hit the bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. And beyond that, one thing that would really help us out more than anything else is just share the videos with a friend. Please, try it out. Tell a friend, I saw this cool video. Maybe you watch it together while you're holding hands, and then at the end of the video, you can do a little smooching.
That'd be real nice. And we usually have to like post our videos to like the subreddits of a lot of these games, just because we want to, you know, engage in the community. And that sometimes people get upset because it's like self-promotion, but it's like, I don't know, man, I just want to connect with the people of that game. So if you did it for us,
oh yeah, that'd be nice.
There's a lot less.
And then maybe we'll
contention.
smooch you.
We'll give you big smooches.
Yeah.
All right, see you later.
Here's a coupon for one big free smooch. Right here.
Ding.